So it's fair to say, folks, that we are all really connected. And this malaise that we have to go through in society, this storm we're facing, we're hitting a wall. Okay, the nails have been placed in the coffin, and a lot of people haven't realized that they're finished, they're done. And what I'm talking about is our freedom has been lost. It's been lost through financial fraud. The wealth of our nation has been stolen for generations to come. I can't tell you how many, because if the people running things right now have their way, it'll happen in perpetuity. But like I said, and I believe, the worm will turn. But the ominous part, the part that's very nebulous and ambiguous, is at what point will it change? When really, you know what, it's very evident to everybody that the people are not going to take any more financial terrorism, any more tyranny, any more oppression. They're not going to take any more of their freedom being stolen. No more of their security being stolen, okay? And it's all about economics, and it's all about mathematics, and it's all very simple. It's not convoluted like so many people would have you believe. Or maybe they believe it. Maybe they're confused. Maybe they're genuinely deceived. So when you hear people that sound like they know what they're talking about, but if you examine the simple facts, you realize, no, they don't know their math. In order to have checks and balance, you say, hey, my cost of living went up X because of these market manipulators, these causers, not because, they're basing it on supply and demand and there's a famine in the land and, there's good grounds for why this commodity went up in price. No, you look at the facts, you say, wow, it actually went up, and there's a huge excess of that commodity. So according to law of supply and demand, it should have gone down. So don't blame me. I'm just a guy that's trying to maintain a standard of living, okay? I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I'm just trying to survive. I've got not only a right, I've got an obligation to my children and their children to do this thing. So when you look at it, it's all mathematic. My cost of living went up X. Let's look at why it went up. Don't blame the effect of the debasement of the currency, the cost of living inflation that's been perpetrated, inflicted intentionally, deliberately, invented problems. And you say, well, certain people benefit from that inflation. Yeah, well, others get hurt by it. Okay, so it's not okay, and it's all math. So you put the math on the scale, numbers on a scale. Cost of living went up X, so I need this cost of living adjustment to equal X so that we balance the scale. It's very simple. It's checks and balances, accountability. And again, don't blame the effect. Don't blame the workers. Remember, they don't care if they're making $1 or $50 an hour. It's what can I buy? Okay, because it used to buy a lot more. Used to be that anybody that wanted to be a homeowner in America could be a homeowner. And everybody wants to work. I mean, we're all chomping at the bit. We're not getting enough work. There's not enough jobs. Everybody knows that. How many people are even able to get 40 hours at work anymore? Very few. Not that we need it. I mean, this is another thing we need to look at. We need to look at not just holding our own and having a cost of living adjustment. We need to look at why isn't our currency increasing in value? I mean, if we're really making progress as a civilized society, you see, you find easier and easier ways to produce your needs. That's a collective. We're connected collectively. That is a society. That's a civilized society. We work together like a family the way God wants us to work. And our interests are mutual. We've got to say, well, look, I don't want this thing that's going to benefit me if it's going to hurt him. We've got to turn it down and deny it. We've got to have integrity. We've got to have a backbone. We've got to have principles. We've got to have ethics. We've got to be decent, upright human beings. It's simple as that. We've got to give a damn. We've got to get it. Because we've got to see our happiness. It's not just say, I'm unselfish because, I'm such a noble person, I'm this great egalitarian. No. You do it because you understand that your happiness is literally involved here, that you will never attain true happiness. You might get a pseudo happiness. You might get this light in your eye when you think about your great portfolio and all your material possessions and your great financial security you have, but it's hollow and it's shameful, and God sees you and you're wicked, and the light within you is darkness. This is what Jesus taught. That's it. You can't serve two masters. And that's what we've got to understand fundamentally here, is that's what's going on here. They've trained us to think that we can, that somehow we can do this thing. But there'll come a time when there's not going to be money, because this is a false god that's been imposed on us, that's taken great power, that's bought the wealth of the planet through fraud. It's the devil. It literally is. And it gets in people. So, if you're rich and you're not happy, I'm telling you, it's why. You've got to step back. You got to give a damn. You got to say, if I lost my wealth tomorrow, I'm still going to be happy, because it's my choice. Because I know God. I know his intention. I know that I was born rich, that this planet belongs as much to me as it does to you and him and her and everybody else. It doesn't just belong to the Rockefellers, Rothschild class, the Clinton and Bush class. Okay? It belongs to all of us. So what's wrong with a government-approved money printing press at home? You get it? You understand why it's so important to understand economics. Because the love of money is the root of all evil, and economics is all about money. Financial matters are all about money. So when you understand it's all about money, then you understand the way out. That the way to freedom, the way to set the captives free, is through financial security, not for some. Everybody wants the same things. We all want financial security. We all want financial prosperity. We all want financial freedom. I dare anyone stand up, tell me you don't want those things. We all do. So let me ask, would you withhold those things from me? Well, I wouldn't withhold those things from you. And I contend that you've got a problem. If you would withhold those things from me, then you've got a problem, because I wouldn't withhold them from you. I would get to the bottom of this thing. I would just offer the people sound currency, like JFK wanted to do. Okay, I can imagine these evil overlords, when they got away with that, and there was some shuffling, there was some fast footwork there with Jack Ruby and the Sirhan, all these setups, all this fishy business. And to this day, it's something like 65% of Americans do not believe the official story. And more 9/11, we're waking up sooner and sooner to the reality of what's really going on. Okay, that there is some scandalous, devious, diabolical, sinister folks working in our government, okay? They're just gangsters. That's all they are. These money printing class, Federal Reserve Bank, and their political whores, it's all they're a bunch of thugs, mafioso gangsters. Not everybody in government, but enough of them. So a lot of nails got pounded in our coffin, because the system is very threatened. These status quo establishmentarians, these overlords, are very threatened at the idea of ending poverty, and that's exactly what sound currency would have done. It would have gradually ended poverty through sound currency, through supply and demand principles, true capitalism, true free market. This is what would have happened across the board, everybody. Continually lowered work week. They couldn't have that. We'd set a shining light example for the rest of the nations to follow. We wouldn't have immigration issues to deal with today, because all around the world they'd be copying what we did with sound currency, checks and balances, accountability. Blame the causers. If they want to inflate our cost of living, if they want to debase our currency, blame them. They don't care. They just print as much as they want. These political whores have their fingers in the pie. So why shouldn't you and I? Well, let's keep the field level. Let's get the field level. Try to keep it there. No, they won't let that happen. And so Bill Clinton, I think they were really struggling, to get past a point of oppression, and they were really having a hard time back in the 90s when Bill Clinton was president. Remember, we had the home savings and loan scandal, and some people were actually going to jail. There seemed to be some accountability with guys like, who's that guy, Black, the regulator that really, Ken Black, I think. but he really stood against these people and put some of these people in jail. A lot of these market manipulators that were dumping money on the market, and they were just thieves. This is what they were doing. And so Bill Clinton, at the end of his presidency, did this big favor to these bankers who got him off the hook with that Whitewater scandal. I think that personally there's an association there. So a lot more nails got pounded in our coffin, which allowed the bankers to go Wild West on us. I watched all this stuff unfold, as everybody else did. And then the final nails were put in 2008 in the banking bailout, takeover of '08. So that's what happened. And a lot of people just haven't figured it out yet, but I see it very clearly that America's cooked, we're done, we're finished, and that we've hit that wall. But, it's like the car hit the wall, but the metal is still crushing, okay? The impact is still being felt by a lot of people. So across the country, if you want to know what you have to look forward to, look to California, okay? Look to some of the highest rents in the country, highest housing costs in the country. And people think that's a good thing. You see that what they've done to us? They've got us to believe that high housing costs are a good thing. Well, anyhow, folks, best to everybody out there, and have a great day, and consider the things I'm saying, because it's all math.